man, I'm about to tell you something that hardly anybody knows. And I think this might be part of it.
Mic check, mic check. What's going on? Welcome into another episode of the KZ Community Beat. Tis I, Ross Martinez, your host. In the hot seat this week, I have the general manager of 90.7 FM, Marc Supreme. What up, my dude?
What's good, fool? Husky Heartthrob, Marc Supreme, KZ 102.3. We in this thing, man. Appreciate you letting me come through.
So, you piqued my interest a long time ago. We met at Mr. Glass's.
Shout out to Glass.
Mr. Glass, amazing dude. That's my neighbor.
Yeah. Word. Fun fact. His brother, who is also Mr. Glass, also cuts hair.
God, well, he just had, didn't he just have like a school graduate? Like he posted a picture 2 days ago where it was 5-6 different people. Every race, ethnicity, color, whatever. They're there just cutting hair, and he's putting empowerment back in the community and making barber like this dope job to have again. It's dope. Anyways, that's another episode. Go check it out.
His shop is a melting pot, though. So shout out to him because that's where this connection came from. But
although he did hit me yesterday, he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, you booked something with me, but I got booked and I couldn't get you." I'm like, "No, I didn't." He's like, "Oh, you sure? Do you want to come in Friday?" He got me. I'm coming in Friday. That's how he got me.
He's something for real.
Yeah.
For real.
So, Marc, man, I've been reading about you. And he told me a lot about you. You have about 56 jobs in town.
He said 56 jobs.
You do a lot.
It's a lot going on, yeah. It's a lot going on.
So let's see. Let's start first with, there was something you just did. You curated this hip-hop art exhibit at the Peoria Riverfront Museum, right? So when you were doing that, what was the inspiration getting involved in that venture?
Honestly, shout out to Everly Davis. She's the one that reached out to me and had the brilliant idea. I just be hanging around and doing stuff, but she is really the when you talk about culture and like just dope stuff that the museum has going on, the museum and the staff and John Morris on down, they really got their thing going on. But Everly Davis is really giving them a shot of adrenaline in the arm, a cultural shot of adrenaline in the arm when it comes to just figuring out how to get more people involved in the community. Because they say the museum is a community landmark in the P, but before, a couple years ago, I think a good amount of people in Peoria didn't feel that. But since she's been there and with the help of everybody else that is, at the museum, she's really spearheaded some dope stuff down there. And so she came out and reached out to me and, we just did it and it worked out.
There was also an article you wrote not too long ago about how enriching the culture here in Peoria. Mm-hmm. What was the behind the scenes of going about making that article piece? What was it entitled again?
What are you talking about? Which one are we talking about?
Back in January of 2022, I think it was. I think it was Peoria Magazine. You were talking about how Peoria is starting to get more enriched in culture.
Okay,
and
yeah.
How there's more minorities.
Yeah, that was this past February, yeah. So, I was talking about that because Peoria has always been deemed by a lot of people, especially minorities, black and brown people like us. Peoria has been it's been deemed like culturally sanitized. And when especially you coming from Chicago, yeah, we got a little couple things going on. But if you would have came 6-7 years ago, you'd be like, bro, like, what's going on? Because it's just sanitized, bro. And there's certain things that people want to do that the powers that be just won't allow to let happen. I had some dope ideas for billboards. I wanted to do a billboard campaign around Peoria, all positive, but it was culture and it had a little bit of edge to it, but it was still all positive, and the people that we wanted to target would be able to relate to it. And I told the general manager of the billboard company, I was like, "Hey man, I want to do this." He's like, "Man, I'd love to do this." The guy comes from Houston, and he's like, "But I'd love to do this in Houston. This would be dope. I could do this in Houston, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I can't do this here in Peoria." And my phone will ring off the hook. So if you can figure out how to rework it, that'd be dope, but I can't run it.
That's crazy.
That's just it's indicative of how behind Peoria is culturally and how conservative it is. And I'm not knocking it from a political standpoint of, Republican, Democrat, but just, man, like, let's,
it's a community.
It's a community. Like, let's include everybody, because when you have a conservative approach to literally everything, that's when people feel left out. And so there's lack of not only cultural identity and Peoria identity, but there's also a lack of a sense of belonging by a whole swath of people that live here, because they feel like, oh, Peoria is not for me because my expression isn't accepted. You know what I mean? And that is what I meant by cultural sanitization. And so in the last couple of years, what we've set out to do, the Honor Collective, the people that we partner with, like Product of the Projects, and just a lot of folks that are doing dope things that we've come together, we just set out to give people what we weren't able to get coming up because it wasn't our expression wasn't accepted, if that makes sense.
Two things you piqued my interest on that. One is the phrase, if it plays in Peoria, I've heard since I moved here. And it makes that comment very interesting because you would think anything could play here. So that means anything is on bound where you could just test, it's a test market, right?
Yeah.
But it was a fight trying to get that ability to be tested, when it comes to minority stuff.
It was, but I'll tell you what changed it. The problem was, and I say this to anybody, and I actually talked about this in my commencement speech when I did the commencement speech for ICC last May, is don't wait on nobody, don't hate on nobody. And what I meant by that is the problem was we kept going to these organizations or these institutions in Peoria trying to get them to let us do something. And instead, with everything that we got going on, it started with Juneteenth. And we just came together and decided we were going to do something. We're going to raise our own money. We're going to do it how we wanted to do it. And we're going to put it on, and the people that like it are going to come.
Yeah.
And luckily, the people that identified with what we were trying to do, they came. And then it snowballed. And now, I'm not going to say like we can't be stopped or nothing like that, but it is, and not even on autopilot, but we got it to where we got our own thing going. And so we're going to figure out how we can disseminate our concepts of culture to Peoria and allow others, and not even allow others, but empower others to do the same and figure out what they got inside themselves. What do they want to deliver? What do they want to express? Just do it. Like, forget about asking for permission. Like, hey, can we do this? Can we do it? No, we're going to figure out our own ideas. We're going to get our own group. We're going to get our own money, and we're just going to do it wherever we can do it at.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to go from there. So that's kind of what that's about for real.
So who empowered this in you?
Who empowered me?
Yeah, like who set you down this path? Because I've read a little bit about your bio. I've researched a couple of things that you've done in history, or not history, but here for Peoria. Who put that fire in you in your life?
Nobody put that fire in me for real.
Like you never had a role model that was like, yo, Mark, like this is a good path. For real.
Not that. And I don't want to leave out anybody, but I've never.
Outside of family.
I've been told by people, like, I've been told growing up, not even growing up, because I graduated high school with a 1.8 GPA, mind you. But just like on the verge of not even graduating for real. But like I've had a couple peers reach out and just say, man, you're going to do something great. You're going to do something great. But I'm like, bro, what though? Because I was just out here like bad. Like I graduated with a master's degree, trying to get a job, never could find a job. And I just had the struggle of just trying to figure out how can I get on track toward my purpose. And the thing is, I was doing everything right. You know what I mean? I felt like I was doing everything right. Like just like approaching it, clean cut, you know what I mean? Articulating the way I should be articulating, the way I thought I should articulate things. Just doing the whole thing. And it was really in the last 4 or 5 years. I ain't always been like this. It's really in the last 4 or 5 years that I was like, you know what, bro? You can bleep stuff out of here, right?
Yeah. Or I'll leave it in. Okay, do your thing, man.
But it's just like, man, what y'all talking about, bro?
Yeah.
Like, I'm finna just do what I feel like doing. And if it takes, it takes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I was working, you know what I mean? I worked in higher education. I worked in, media. And then during the pandemic, I was going like Facebook Live a lot, just talking about politics because like my interest in that is like a byproduct of my education because I covered politics in Springfield in the General Assembly and things like that.
Oh, wow.
For a conservative radio outlet back in Springfield. So we was doing like Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, Sean Hannity, like all of that. You know what I mean?
Because when I came here, bless you. 2 more times just in case the Lord bless you too.
Yeah,
but like I had that experience too working WMBD, which leans right.
Yeah.
You work for a right leaning company.
WTAX, yeah.
As minorities, like I'm not going to speak ill about it because, great people over there, all that. But being a minority who I feel like you may lean left, I lean left, working for a conservative radio company. How was that?
It was conservative. You know what I mean? Like, it was looking at me a kind of way and things like that. But I'm appreciative of it because exposure is the biggest thing that we all need. You know what I mean?
It
like,
is.
I'm not the type to be like, oh, you Republican or you hyper conservative, like I ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
I accept you for as you is as long as you respect me.
Yeah.
That's how I am.
And even where it's a funny interaction that John Kelly and I had, I moderated a political panel for city council about a month ago at this point.
Oh, and that's dope, man.
Yeah.
From a 1.7 to doing this, come on now.
Yeah. Well, and we did this too. Like we did a whole in-person candidate forum at Central during the pandemic, spring 2021. I partnered with Pure Journal-Star. We brought everybody that was had announced that they were running for mayor and we're going for city council. We actually did an in-person debate. No audience, obviously, because it's still in the middle of a pandemic. But we did it at Central High School's auditorium and like streamed it. It was super dope. And so I've been doing stuff like that and like just doing political commentary and stuff like that. But when I asked John Kelly a question about equity, and he said, I don't believe in equity. And he got a lot of people, he got pushed back by a lot of people. So we went back and forth. But after he was done, he came over to me. He was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at with it. Appreciate the, you know what I mean? And he was like, man, let's do lunch one day. You know what I mean? And we haven't done it yet, but I'm not opposed to it because, you know, we need to see what people are thinking on the opposite side of the spectrum, because that's the problem when you got this divisiveness between two, I hate to say two parties on the political tip, but
it's
between
two
groups of people. Yeah. Like the best thing we can do is come together and figure out at least where you coming from. You can understand where I'm coming from. Some things we might be able to connect on, some things we won't, but just the polarization of, oh, if you think that equity is not important, then I have nothing to say to you and I don't want to hear nothing you have to say. No, I want to see why you think that.
Yeah.
And I want to let you know why I think this. And maybe we can come to some common ground and there's something that we can collab on. I'm sure there's something, like people hate Donald Trump. I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but I'm sure if I sat down with him, there's something that we can come together on. And if you're trying to bring people together, then you have to try to bring people together, and it starts with us.
Well, communication is lost art form because people just speak to get to the next talking point or to the next thought that pops in their head. They don't give people the time to catch the rhythm in conversation to get the comprehension aspect out of it. Like, I know there's times myself as interviewer, like, you say something and I want to lean it real quick, but I'm like, oh, let my man cook. He's got something happening. Let him cook. Did you find that hard at all?
When it comes to what? Just interviewing folks and like,
with different opinions.
Oh, not with different opinions, because I want to know. I've always been the type to want to know why people think the way they do. And so I'll just keep asking questions till at least it partially makes sense. You know what I mean? So that was never a problem with me. With interviewing, the thing is listening and forgetting what I was finna say. So, you know, you just said, like, people be like, you know, they're just listening long enough to where they can get their other point across. Yeah. I'm really in depth, like, really on it. Like, I'm a spectator at that point. Then you done talking. I forgot I'm the one that's supposed to, you know, follow up with the question. But
you did the whole boyfriend thing where you catch the last phrase they say, like, oh, really? That? Expand on that, please.
That's it. I tell you, get on my nerves, though, bro. And he cool. But, man, you watch Drink Champs?
Yeah.
Bro, Nori be interrupting the hell out of these people, bro.
But it's Nori, though.
I know, but it's like, bro, this, like, Nori be in there interviewing himself. Like, somebody would say, yeah, man, I'm just glad, man, the album went platinum. Hold on, wait. You remind me back in 96, me and my mans, we went platinum. You know what I'm saying? We met Jay-Z and he said, you know, keep doing what you do. But anyway, go ahead. Oh, yeah, man, Jay. No, man, you know me. Look, I did meet Jay. Like, bro, like, let him cook, bro. Like, I be hating.
Who did he have when he had Budden on?
He did it bag to Big Sean. Did you watch that?
I didn't watch that one yet, but I had seen snips on
Big
TikTok.
Sean was trying to say something, and Nori's like, hold on. Do you remind me when woo woo? And then he'll like, all right, go ahead. And Big Sean was like, so yeah, when I was talking to Kanye, wait, is Kanye still woo? He's like, I don't know. But yeah, Kanye, I told him, man, you still owe me $50 million. I mean, when I got my first $50 million. And then Big Sean was like, bro, like I said. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell he was
You know he didn't do that on Budden. Budden checked him once or twice. He's like, hold on, let me finish my thought, man.
Yeah, because, you know, Budden.
It's Budden, man. Yeah. Actually, I grew up listening to the Budden podcast with Rory and Maul, and that was every week. I would have that on YouTube. I'd be doing something behind the scenes. That hurt when that pod exploded, man. I'll tell you that. Now, let's talk about media, man. How'd you get involved with 90.7? I read that it was tied to the college somehow.
It was. It's funny how I got tied to the to media here in Peoria, or just media in general.
Let's say media in general.
Media in general started back at ICC. Actually, it's a full circle situation because there was a TV show at ICC called ICC Underground for students, and I was like one of the producers there. And so that was like my first stint in media. Then after that, I started working for WTVP, which I thought was like a volunteer internship. But then one day, like a check just came on my mama's house. I'm like, word, okay, bet.
Money.
And then after that, I went to SIU Carbondale, and I worked for the Journal, for the Daily Egyptian down there. It's the student-run newspaper, which is super dope because they had all these Emmys as a newspaper, as the student-run newspaper. And the crazy thing about that student-run newspaper is that paper was more relied upon by the residents of Carbondale than the Southern, which was the official city newspaper. So people like that lived in Carbondale. They were reading the student newspaper because it was just tighter, more descriptive journalism. Because, we still got, we in school, so we got to make sure we do everything right. We ain't getting paid. Well, we're getting paid, but it was tight. And so,
it's still authentic journalism.
Yeah. It was basically almost, people say, I don't watch NBA, but I watch college basketball.
Yeah.
Because it's just a little bit more pure.
Because you had the passion left in
that.
it. Yeah.
I think we were delivering that. And the biggest interview I did down there, I interviewed Fidel Castro's daughter, one of Fidel Castro's daughters. So that was like my biggest story down there.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, how was that interview? Like, how'd you land that?
What happened? She was just coming to SIU, to speak. And that's the cool thing about college because they bring in people that you would never see any other time.
Yeah.
And, she was coming. I was like, bro, I got to get this story. And they let me run it.
You just asked them.
I just asked it. Yeah, I see. And it worked out.
You feel like that was like a lot of your life where you just asked the question and then you just did it?
I tell people, man, you just got to see what's to it. And just be able to swallow the no, because you're going to get a lot of no's. But I've gotten a lot of things out of just asking or following up. Whether even if you don't get a job, you don't be like, all right. You be like, okay, how come I wasn't hired? Because maybe I can refine some things within myself that I can carry on to the next stop.
Yeah.
So it's all about just asking. People going to say no. Sometimes they're going to say yeah. So I covered her, and I covered the Obama election in 2008. I went up to Chicago Grand Park. That was one of the most, like, the biggest sea of emotions I've ever been in the middle of. It was at Grant Park, and Obama, like, everybody's watching this big screen, and then Obama wins, and his whole family comes out to Grant Park, and it's just everybody just sobbing, bro. It was crazy.
What was the emotions you feeling while being in that sea?
It was just dope because I rode up. Shout out to my friend Taryn Bradley, man. She's the one that somehow secured tickets to the election night. So she asked me if I wanted to go. So since she had it, I told the news station, because again, I'm still at SIU, and I'm like, hey, can I go cover this Obama election? They're like, no, you have to have tickets. I'm like, I got tickets. And they looking at me like, bro, how you got tickets? I'm like, bro, I got tickets, bro. Can I cover it? And they're like, I mean, if you got access, it's all about access.
Yeah.
And so the whole way up, we're listening to Jeezy's Recession album that had dropped around that time.
My president is
black. And not even that, just Welcome Back, just all the, because like.
That Jeezy album was amazing.
Man, classic.
Jeezy gets slept on from the mainstream.
Classic, bro.
Yes.
Classic. Even his new joint, Snowfall, goes crazy.
I have yet to hear Snowfall.
I've been on, do yourself a favor.
What about listening to Nas? King Disease 3.
Yeah. He's in my he's on my Mount Rushmore.
Oh, well,
Easy.
yeah.
Yeah, him, Nas, Jay, M, and Wayne.
Don't worry, we getting back to hip hop.
Okay.
The main reason I had it on here because I want to talk hip hop, but you have so much going on that I want to cover it all somehow. Because I want to give the 360 who Marc Supreme is, get some knowledge. Because I feel like there's so much you could teach me in this conversation, but I definitely want to go back and forth hip hop with you because I feel like you're doing a lot of dope things for the community with hip hop. But anyways, yes, just being in that sea because I remember when Chewy first came out and the whole in Illinois where Chewy Garcia was the main dude. And I remember just going to events and feeling like, oh, we kind of have a role model a little bit here. You know, it's kind of gone left and right here and there with them. But to be in that historic moment, man, as a black man that's trying to find success, like that's got to be like some tears to you at some point, man. Like, just see.
In the Obama situation?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I ain't even gonna lie. Like, a part of it, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm on my job. Because they let me come all the way up here to Chicago and cover this story, and they're going to pay me for being up here.
Yeah.
So, like, first of all, let me make sure I'm on my job. And it's one of those moments where you know you living in history, but you just know it's going to hit you harder later on, and you just got to stay on your job at this moment.
So you were just in the moment. You wasn't even like thinking. You were just all right. I gotta get ABC done.
But I know this is crazy right here. But you gotta work. It's almost like, if you get to host the Grammys or something, like you know this is major, but focus so you can get through the moment and run through the finish line and be able to look back and say I did my thing, not I fumbled the ball because I was too busy watching the game. You see what I'm saying?
So was that the biggest lesson you learned from that historic moment in your life? It's just knowing how to be aware in the moment and be on top of your game and be a professional?
I don't know man, biggest moment I learned in that moment.
I ask all these random deep questions and I'm going to hit you with a joke afterwards.
Oh, good.
Because I like knowing how the mind works. That's my big thing.
I'm minored in psychology, actually. So
did I.
I thought I was going to be the Black Dr. Phil for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you got a little too much hair, bro.
Yeah.
You got a little too much hair.
I didn't know what I was going to do, but
I liked philosophy. That was my big one.
Yeah, philosophy didn't make no sense to me. Like, it did. It just seemed like it was trying to stretch your brain to nowhere. But the fact that it stretched would make you a better person on the back end.
It's kind of like you walk in the room and you talk to everybody to get perspectives, and then you build your own synopsis of the world from that. Like Kierkegaard, Hume, all these other cats that have what's that guy's name? Nietzsche. All these fools have crazy philosophies of life, and I've picked and choose little things here and there. So like these moments you have, right? The psychology behind it of how you're in a historic moment. You're seeing a figure in your community get the biggest accomplishment within our American culture, right? But for the first time, it is a man that you can associate with and you see at the pinnacle of success in America. That's psychology 101 right there. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the moment I get to see a Latino or Latina stand on that stage and president, bro, like even now, like I got my hairs up a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be hard. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like watching the Cubs win the World Series in 2016.
Man, trying to because you better embrace it. That's about it. That's about it. That's about it. That's about it.
But you know what I mean? Like the psychology behind that experience. Were you able to tell your kids about this? Like, yo, I got to cover this and the importance of it?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's something weird about me. Like, I don't know why. I follow the mantra of never being too high, never being too low. It's easy for me to get too low though, because like I hate mistakes. I'm a perfectionist, and I hate that about myself because being a perfectionist takes a lot of. You can waste a lot of time. You know what I mean?
Well, I know.
So sometimes these big things happen, and people reach out to me, and they're like, how do you feel, bro? Like, how does it feel? And I'm like, I mean, it's cool. Like, even with the book, and I know we'll get to that later on, but even with the book, it's like, I mean, it's cool. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
so you accomplish and move forward. Is that your way of saying humble?
I think and it's going to sound cocky, but it's actually the complete antithesis of cockiness. But I don't even sometimes see those as accomplishments. It's just something I did. You know what I mean? So it's like, like, I don't know. And I'm still trying to figure out that space about myself as to why I don't celebrate the little things. I've never been one to celebrate the little things. It's like, it's almost like that Mamba mentality. Like, you ain't going to celebrate because we're in the playoffs. We're supposed to be in the playoffs.
It's expected.
Okay. Are you swept the team? They're supposed to get swept. Like, because we're supposed to win the whole thing. You know what I mean? Now, when we win the championship and there's nothing else left to do in this space, then we can celebrate.
Yeah.
But, we ain't going to, you remember like a long time ago, Kobe was still alive. It might have been 2015 when the Lakers won a regular season game. They weren't going to the playoffs at all. I think they were sitting on like 20 wins, and like they were sitting on like 20 and 60 or something crazy. And I remember Nick Young was on the video and Kobe was on the Jimmy Kimmel show, and they just rejoicing, like going crazy.
Yeah.
And then they come back to Kobe. He's like, Kobe, how does that make you feel? And he's just in there like, just like that, like shaking his head like, bro, like, y'all not even going to the playoffs.
Well, you said that wouldn't happen if I was on the team.
Bro, that's we said,
I was like, damn.
But it's like, bro, it's like, all right, on to the next thing, right? And so I'm trying to find joy in the small things, but, you know, in my head, I'm going to be honest with you, too. In my head, I've always had a chip on my shoulder because I've always felt like I'm behind.
Ooh, why is that?
And I think that's why. Why
do you feel behind? Because from everything I've read about you, and even the man I've met now, not to blow steam up you, but it seems like you're a well-off, successful, community impactful. Like you impact the community on vastly different ways that it needs to be enriched on with 90.7, with curating, with reporting. Like you reported the first time this city had, females, black, brown, all running for mayor?
Yeah, we interviewed those, yeah.
That's dope.
It is dope. But I have to push back on well off and successful though. But impactful probably. But you know what? Man, so this is crazy. But I like this atmosphere. This is dope as hell.
It's intimate as hell.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's intimate as shit.
Welcome to my life, bro.
So dig this, man. I'm about to tell you something that hardly anybody knows. And I think this might be part of it. I'm about to tell you something that I haven't talked really about this to most people.
I'm the Mexican Oprah. Let's go.
Let's go. But you know what? And this just came to my mind. This might be it. First of all, I've always felt like I was supposed to be beyond where I already was. Like things that I accomplished at 36. It's like, man, I should have did that. It's cool, but I should have did that at 26. And I always have this mind frame of like, oh, you know, good job. It's like, there's nothing really cool about graduating high school at 24. Like, yeah, you did it. But bro, it shouldn't have took you 24. And I wonder if, you ready? I wonder if this feeling comes from the fact that I did kindergarten twice.
Oh.
So I was at a public school when I was in kindergarten. And then after that, my mom switched me to a private school, but I did kindergarten again. I never asked why. I'm in kindergarten. I don't remember half of it. But I remember growing up and going through 6th, 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th, remembering that, right? And I always felt like I was a year behind because I was really supposed to be up here, right? And so I think it was something I was always chasing to knock it out. And I felt accomplished finally to a degree when I graduated with my master's degree because I got accepted into this highly selective program. I think 300, 400 students applied, 300, something like that. And I was only one of 19 accepted, coming from 1.8 GPA. And the thing about that grad program is it was one semester was all schoolwork. The second semester was half schoolwork, half internship, which is where I was covering the General Assembly. And so you got your master's degree in 1 year. Typically it takes 2 years to get your master's degree. So given that I did kindergarten twice, theoretically, if I went to get my master's degree, I would have graduated in 2011 at that pace. But if I did kindergarten only once, then I'd have graduated college in 2008, got my master's degree in 2010. So by being able to get accepted to a program where it only required 1 year instead of 2, I shaved that time off, and it's like I never did kindergarten twice.
So it's fair to say, would it be fair to say that your entire passion is rooted in that one thing that you didn't really have control on?
I don't know.
Because it seems like you're excelling and you're not focusing on the success. You're just succeeding. You're doing this. I mean, the master's from a 1.7, being able to cover and be in the sea with Obama's election, all the great things you're doing at 90.7, which we're going to start talking about. The book now that we'll talk about, curating the exhibit, being a good father. Like, this is success to me, but you don't stop to see it. You just, I have to do it. This is who I am. I have to do it.
At this point now, bro, people ask me like, where do I get like all this stuff from? It's just, I just wake up and do what feels dope for real. Like, that's really it.
I love that
because
for you,
what
man.
I was trying to do before was cause I never wanted to do it. But bro, if you would ask me when I first grade, so I went into college thinking that I was going to host 106 in Park and replace Terrence J. That's what I literally thought was going to happen.
I was in love with Roxy.
Man,
I was in love with Roxy. If she listening now, what's up, girl?
That's what I was going to school for. But by the time I graduated, I had a job at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and I was cleaning the cars. And it was a sweet gig. It was real chill. I love cars. And I heard about the managers from back in the day, and like even the current ones that were graduating, that were retiring at 35, 40 years old, because like how the company is run and how like quickly you can move up the chain, and how you can be 35, 36, 37, making $150,000, $200,000 a year, maybe even $500,000 a year. You know, I just heard these stories while I was in school. And so by the time I graduated, I was just cool with getting a job at Enterprise Rent-A-Car and working my way up there and becoming a dog and getting a whole bunch of money. There was only one problem, though. They didn't hire me. Even though I worked there the whole time. I applied for the manager in training job as soon as I graduated college, because I'm thinking, I'm a shoo-in. I've been working for this company for 3 years. And I still have yet to understand or find out why they didn't hire me. Because I was like, you got the 3-interview process. My last interview was with all the bosses that I've been working with or working under, washing cars, right? So my interview wasn't even a real interview. We was just chilling, shooting the shit, like just cooling out.
Just talking.
And they didn't hire me. And so I was like, what? And so then I set on the quest to find a job, and I never really, it took me until age, like I graduated in 2010, and I really didn't get a halfway decent footing in any type of work capacity until 2016. So I was almost 30 by the time I got a job that was halfway decent. You know what I mean? Trying to do everything, like living between, you know, I lived in LA for a minute, I lived in Atlanta for a minute, I lived in St. Louis for a minute, and just trying to muster up any type of job. I was, with a master's degree, I was living in Atlanta scrubbing toilets at a LA Fitness, at a Planet Fitness, my fault. And so, like, it was just, so it was like, man, trying to do everything and just trying to get this linear track situated to where I can just forget following your passion. I just want a job that pays master's degree level salaries and just call it a day. I don't care what it was. But I had so many situations where, you know, just things fell through the cracks. I could write a book on all the failed attempts to just get on track. I could write a whole book about that.
That's a perfect transition. Before we get to that book, that's the next thing. With respect, I would not have guessed that about you. Like, when I met you and everything, and how I talked to you and how I've seen the stuff you do, and, you know, I'll follow 90.7 here and there when I'm in the car, and I'll read up about the stuff you have, and I've been researching you. I've always just kind of expected that everything that you aim for is 10 miles ahead.
Hell yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Hell no.
Like, do you understand, like, why I would get that perception?
That's why I'm so far behind. To a degree, but the people that are closest to me know. Again, not that I'm jaded and I don't feel blessed or nothing like that, but the people closest to me know that I don't make a big deal about my current space. I like it, and I like the fact that I'm able to shed light on others and like create dope stuff or whatever. And I feel like I'm finally starting to maybe get into a stride, but I'll know better this time next year. But no, like, you know, I ain't trying to be like no Debbie Downer, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but the people that know me know that, you know, this is just like regular season playoffs. I don't celebrate regular season.
You live in the moment.
Bro, it's when we win a championship, we can talk. You know what I mean? You know, I got a friend who is a friend with somebody else who's very well off, right? And he flew all his friends out to out west, and all like he was like 9 of his buddies came, and they was hanging out for, you know, a couple days or whatever. And like one of the last days, he brought all his friends into the house, and like they went to this dining room, and what he had in that dining room, he bought Rollies for everybody that flew out to go see him.
What?
So all 9 people that came left with Rolexes.
I'll give you a couple tacos. That's all I got for you, bro.
And I'm just like, man, when I'm handing out rollies to the people that have been riding with me, that's when I'll feel like,
So that's your NBA championship.
That's the championship. When because you ain't. It's nothing better than being able to be in a position to put money in other people's pockets. When you doing that is when you really helping other people reach their potential. You know what I mean? And just providing opportunity that really benefits them at the same time. I love my volunteers, like the volunteers that the Yanni Collective gets. We do a lot of stuff with Pop. You know what I mean? We have people that come and buy into us, and we love and appreciate them for riding with us through Juneteenth, riding with us through Sophisticated Ratchet, riding with us through the Diggum College Fairs. We just did one in Springfield a couple weeks ago. But to be able to put money in their pockets, it is a testament to how it demonstrates how much you can appreciate somebody, and that's really when you can, you know what I mean? Like, just being able to pour into other people, you know what I mean? That's when you really
So it's the symbology of it, not so much the actual monetary or giving the Rolex.
Yeah.
It's getting to a position where you can help others out.
Yeah.
On a bigger platform.
On a bigger level, yeah. That's dope. That's dope.
But I feel like who that is, right? And then as you told the story of, I was content with just getting one of these dope ass jobs that bring in money.
I'd have been cool.
But like that fire lit in you somehow. Yeah. Like, what was that transitionary point?
When I wasn't accepted. Because like I said,
the rejection set you off.
The rejection didn't set me off. The rejection made me say, well, fuck y'all. I'm finna just do what I'm going to do anyway, whether it pays or not, because I tried to do it the corporate way. That's what it was. Nobody, jobs wise, nobody, I was in LA trying to get a job at McDonald's and didn't get it. You know what I mean? I was in Atlanta trying to get a job with a furniture moving company. They said I was too skinny. I was like, bro, I come from working like this. Like, my first jobs in high school, while everybody was working at Finish Line, Foot Locker, and Kroger's, I was putting shingles on roofs at 15. I was building decks at 15. And this furniture company gonna tell me I can't lift no furniture? And I know I don't look like it, but like, bro, at 15 years old, I had hammer and nails in my pocket. You know what I mean?
Well, they didn't hire me at Home Depot. Let's just put that one.
Yeah, it's
Doc. What? That works? Oh, all right.
So all that stuff, it wasn't nothing that set me off. It was just an attempt to trying things, and nothing worked. Well, forget that. I'm finna just do what I want to do because I ain't got no money anyway. So I'm not scared of being broke. You know what I mean? So it was like whatever. It kind of went from that, and it really, I think my attitude culminated. My attitude culminated 2021, where we had done this election stuff, right? And I was waiting for these election numbers to come down, and I would always joke. I'd be on Facebook Live, and I get to rolling up. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, this is tobacco. Like, just always joking. People just watching and laugh. But election night, the numbers were taking too long to roll in. And so I rolled up and I'm sitting here just with this joint in my hand, just like, you know what I mean? Like, waiting for these numbers.
Yeah.
And they weren't coming. And so I'm up here trying to figure out how to stall and delay. I got a whole bunch of people watching on Facebook Live. And so I just lit the joint.
On live?
Yeah.
How was that? Was it like a free moment?
I was like, man, fuck, look.
Is that when you became Marc Supreme completely?
Maybe, because it's like, bro, like, at the end of the day, none of y'all gave me nothing. And that's the freeing part. That's the part I love. Because a lot of people act and carry themselves a certain way because they're scared to lose what they've been given by other people.
Oh, that makes sense when you think about
when
that.
You run for office, when you have a big paying job at OSF or Caterpillar, you got all this money, you're able to supply other people with things. But the moment Caterpillar decides it doesn't like your behavior, it doesn't like how you look, it doesn't like how you talk, it doesn't like your ideas or ideology, and they cut your water off, now you in a boat without a paddle because everything you have was given to you.
Yeah.
And so nobody gave me anything. And now granted, I'm not sitting here saying I'm rich. I didn't have nothing. I don't have, you know what I'm saying? I ain't have nothing, but y'all can't take anything away from me either. So just knowing that what I do is all on me, and whether y'all like it or not, I can't lose what I have because of y'all, because y'all didn't give me nothing. Because I tried. I tried to go the corporate route. Corporate America didn't accept me. And so since it didn't, well, I'm going to just do what I want to do. And anything I generate is going to be mine, or with the Yanni Collective, anything we generate is going to be ours, because y'all didn't give us nothing in the first place.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
That's hip hop.
It is. Yeah, it is.
You know, when you think about it, when you think about the culture of hip hop, as we've politely put a genre label to it, but it's a culture. It's a living entity. From the early days of to your boom bap era, to your conscious hip hop, to your evolution of Pac and the Beefs, and then Wayne's entire collective of the late 2000s into now we got Lil Uzi, then we had XXXTentacion, rest his soul, and we have such an evolution of the culture that's just thriving throughout the eras, right? That's the carry notion into it. I'm gonna figure it out, and I'm gonna make this happen how I can make this happen, because it's about me.
And if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter, because I don't have anything anyway.
Yeah.
I ain't got nothing to lose.
I'm swinging in the wind.
Yeah.
Something's gonna stick. If you don't like it, somebody over here on the East Coast is gonna like it.
Yeah.
If not, West, South, whatever.
And that's how Jay is in a position where he's virtually impenetrable, because everything he generated, because nobody wanted to sign him to Rockefeller. I mean, nobody wanted to sign him at all. That's why him and Dame came up with Rockefeller.
Yeah.
And in that, I forget what song it is. I think it's On to the Next. In Blueprint 3, he said, I don't get dropped, I drop a label. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't.
I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that line. I was like, ooh, I still
Let
mess
me
with
handle my
Nas
business,
more,
damn.
though. You know?
No, it's hard, man. You go between Takeover and Ether, like, you can really think, you know, like, man, on one day you'd be like, no, Jay has the edge. But then, like, ooh, Nas has the edge. And I'll still say Nas is more lyrically athletic. But Jay, when you break down some stuff, it's like disgusting. I posted this. You might have seen it on Instagram, on Trouble. The third verse on Trouble.
Yeah, I liked it.
Oh, man. Bro, he went crazy. You know what I'm talking about? That verse?
Yeah. No, but the thing is, with Jay has an amazing vocabulary. And the way he utilizes it, tools, impressive. But what I find so intriguing about Nas is able to put you in that. Oh yeah, in that moment.
Yeah.
Where just everything, like King's Disease 3, top down, top bottom, everything about
King's Disease, all three of them.
All three, yeah.
All
but
three
specifically, if you take from, which today is the anniversary of, oh my God, I'm blanking right now. Damn it. What's the biggest album?
You talking about Illmatic?
Illmatic, right? Today's 29 years since Illmatic came out. Yes, when we're recording this.
Listen, Illmatic, this brother doesn't take a bar off.
Not at all.
I mean, it's encyclopedia after encyclopedia. Like, it's like
Genesis, bro. Also, come on, like
he doesn't take a second off.
But the evolution from that to Ether to all three King's Diseases, and you see how he perfectly puts you into his life, and you can hear his pain, his struggle, his mentality, and him just living the culture of hip hop. Gee, and the production is amazing on every.
He probably got that right, man, because he was tripping for a minute. He even alludes to it. He said, "They say I pick bad beats, but I pick bad freaks as well." Like, you know what I mean? But he was addicted to boom bap. Like, it ain't nothing wrong with him.
I'm a boom bap guy. That's why.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. But like, it was certain things. It's like, bro, we needed you to just.
He needed that little Wu-Tang essence to him.
Yeah, just come over here just a little bit. I mean, Stillmatic wasn't bad, but
I thought Stillmatic was dope.
No, Stillmatic was dope. I'm talking about as far as beat selection. Like, that wasn't bad at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, his joint with that was produced by it was the 7-track joint. Came out like 4 years ago. Who he do that with?
Is that the one he did with Kanye?
I think it was Kanye. But it's like, why'd you make Kanye do that? Because Kanye typically does better than that. Because if you listen to Pusha T's album, it's almost dry. Please tell me you didn't heard that.
Dude.
Flawless. Flawless.
Why doesn't Pusha T get more love than him, Schoolboy, and who's the third cat that I always say needs a lot more love than what they get? And Jeezy. mainstream wise.
Well, Jeezy's really starting to get flowers this last little bit. I went to
after the
Jeezy's
Versus
show.
battle, yeah.
I went to the Jeezy show in January when he did it with the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra.
I saw that on YouTube. Oh man, did you see the moment where him and Nas and Jay, they eventually they were performing somewhere in New York 4 or 5 years ago before COVID, and he came out for Dead Presidents, and Nas and Jay both did that together. I was like, oh shit!
I don't know what, as a hip hop head, like, and there's only a couple of the pictures out there, but like there's pictures out there with Jay, Nas, and Diddy in the same frame.
That's wild.
I love seeing those pictures.
That's wild.
I love seeing those pictures,
bro. But the history behind it, like if you think about everything Diddy did behind the scenes that is now kind of coming out, and how all three of them have three different kind of distinct different levels in the community, to see them together in a picture.
Too. You got Brooklyn, you got Queens, and you got Harlem.
Yeah, but to see that together is wild when you think about the history of hip hop.
Yeah, it's dope. It's dope. Just really walking like history books. I remember when I met Snoop a while ago, and I shook his hand, and instantly in my head, I'm like, bro, I'm looking at East Coast, West Coast beef. I'm looking at Tupac. I'm looking at Suge Knight. I'm looking at Biggie. I'm looking at, just the evolution of hip hop. We talking 90s. And like Snoop has seen all of this stuff. And for him, like, for my 12-year-old son to know who Snoop is.
That's dope.
It's crazy.
That's dope.
That's crazy.
I love that.
Like, Snoop is an American icon. And
yeah.
Yeah, and like.
Yeah, an idol too, if you can put it that
like
way. He's transitioned into a full-fledged business. This man's kicking with fucking, what's her name?
Martha Stewart.
Martha Stewart.
Corona commercials. A gospel album. And it was fire.
He has the Snoop's Little Tykes. Yeah. He also, he streams video games all the time. This is like,
and he just does what he wants. And you know what though? I will tell you this. That is what inspires the way I move though. People like Snoop and to a degree Wayne, because Snoop has created a profile for himself by being himself that allows him to be within that space, and he doesn't get canceled. Like Snoop won't get canceled. Like he has to go way off the deep end because he came in as himself. You know what I mean? And so that's why Snoop is able to do all these things.
Yeah.
Because he's himself in every space. And honestly, that's the biggest compliment I've gotten in recent months in like the last year or two, is that I show up myself wherever I'm at. And I'm inspired by people like Snoop, who shows up wherever he's at. I don't know if you remember at the Super Bowl, he real quickly took a hit of some weed real quick.
He did.
And who's going to check him? Nobody's going to do nothing. You ain't finna do nothing about it.
Yo, remember when he stole 50, or he borrowed 50's Lamborghini? He's like, you didn't pay me to come do this track. I'm taking your car. I'll bring it back, nephew.
I seen something about that. Yeah. And so like he really, and that's what I try to do. Cause like there's been videos of me like blowing weed on Instagram and things like that. And it's not that I'm trying to get people like, hey, look how cool I am. It's not about that. It's about inspiring and encouraging others to show up in those spaces as themselves as well too. Maybe it's not
part of your life.
Maybe it's not that you smell like weed everywhere you go, but maybe you have your hair a certain way. Maybe your clothes isn't the way that people think you should have your clothes. Maybe you got super huge glasses and that's just your swag. You know what I mean? Maybe you talk a certain way. And that's where, people get inspired by people like Bernie Mac, because he talked about how people didn't want to accept him in comedy. He's like, people can't quite understand him. Bernie Mac is a gag, and he is a legend in the comedic space. Same thing with E40, the way he raps. Like, he has these weird, quirky sound effects and things like that, but he's coming as himself. And there's been too many times, especially as black and brown people, where we come into these spaces and we try to assimilate the best we can, and now we just look culturally sanitized like everything else. No, bring your texture. That is what is tangible about you, and that's what makes you you. And so anytime we try to assimilate and try to fit in these spaces and look and feel and sound like they do, then who we are gets washed away. So show up in those spaces as yourself. That's the texture. That's what's tangible, and that's what makes you you.
I asked you this question earlier in the conversation about role models. Now, let me phrase it this way. Is it safe to assume that your role models came from the culture of hip hop more than anything? Because it seems like your role model right now, how you carry yourself based off of Snoop, right? Did you have more of those in your life? You're like, oh, actually, I associate with hip hop artists a lot. Where like, I see the success, I see the journey, I see the story. I can relate to that a lot.
I don't even know if I would say Snoop is a role model, but he's definitely an inspiration into showing up as myself. But he is kind of like he is one of very few northern stars, I would say, that help me navigate myself as myself. But other inspirations, so I don't know about role models exactly. I'm sure I got some, and I'm just drawing a blank right now. I don't know about exact role models, but I do know that there are
figureheads, I guess.
Figureheads that help me figure out how to navigate. And I told this to somebody the other day, and you could probably agree to this too. Bro, when it comes to being like a male, especially like a minority male in spaces that a lot of us aren't in or something like that, bro, if you listen to Jay tells you exactly what is going on, what to anticipate, how to navigate it. Like, Jay is crazy with the instruction. You know what I mean? Like, if you listen to Jay, bro, he gives it to you. He really does.
The evils.
That. But even in like In Trouble, or even in like Blueprint 2, the song Blueprint, I think it's called Blueprint 2. No, it's called Meet the Parents. He said, first they love you, then they hate you, then they love you again.
Oh yeah, that's life.
And when you think about it, like, everybody that we look at has gone through that phase. Oprah, Beyonce, Jay, Jordan, Kobe for sure, Floyd Mayweather. Like, you know what I mean? And so, because anytime you're trying to do something, bro, like in any space, and you're consistent with it, you're going to have people that are going to resist. You know, you're going to have people that are going to start to, you know, be fatigued with what you got going on and things like that. Say Tyler Perry brought in with great fanfare, then they didn't like him no more. Now he's on his way back up. Yeah. Bron, perfect example. People hate Bron. As soon as Bron retires, everybody loves him.
Oh yeah,
everybody loves him. Because say what you want about him right now, you're all gonna miss him.
Jordan too.
Jordan,
love
all
him.
of them.
Now they kind of hate him. Now he's coming back.
And
it's interesting when you think about the psychology of being creative in this movement of trying to find yourself and your ups and downs, trials and tribulations, while also trying to garner some fandom. And like, as a minority man, we talk about mental health being a big component, right? Is that difficult for you to navigate sometimes, of just the ups and downs of love and hatred, I guess? Not hatred, but dislike, disdain, back and forth? Because I find it challenging sometimes, because I won't lie, I just want to be loved, because all I have to give is love, with some sarcasm on the side. So like, when something I do isn't well received, I take it a little personal. I'm like, man, I could have done that better. I could have done this. And I would start spiraling with my anxiety sometimes. So I got to take my time. I'll take my puff and I'll go on the side, and I'll get right. But it is challenging in the moment. I'm like, fuck, I could have done a little bit better.
So I got a little bit of that for sure. If I feel like I didn't do everything I could have, I definitely get like frustrated with myself. I've heard people tell me that I speak kind of crass or unvarnished or kind of mean. And they're like, man, you got to watch how you talk. I'm like, bro, you think I'm mean to you? You should hear how I talk to myself.
Self-talk, yeah.
You should hear what goes on in my head as far as, Mark, what the fuck, bro? What, you know what I'm saying? Like pissed. So I got a little bit of that. And as far as like being well received, I'm in a space where, and I think I've always kind of been in this space, I don't care how what I put out is received, as long as it's reaction to what I'm actually trying to put out. My biggest fear, or my biggest frustration, I'll say, is to be at the mountaintop and yelling red and everybody hearing blue. That's what frustrates me. And so
that your message isn't properly received.
That's it. If people are like, man, forget Mark, man, we don't like, do you hear him shouting blue? That's my frustration. It's like, no, I said red. Now, if I yelled red, y'all heard red, and y'all don't like red, well, that's on you. I don't care about that. You know what I mean? But for what I try to do or put out or disseminate to be misunderstood, and then to get negative feedback because of the misunderstanding, that frustrates me. But if you don't like what I'm generally giving, and you really understand what I'm trying to say, you know, there's people, you know, again, like, he smoke weed. Oh, fuck you then. Okay. Like, whatever.
It's like that Bernie Mac. If you being you, the truest you, and they don't fuck with you, fuck them.
That's fine.
Find someone else.
Yeah. I don't like the way he dresses or this or that. Like, that's fine. But again, if you think that I'm a self-centered dude who's cocky and arrogant and think everything is about me, that bothers me because the people that know me, funny story, the people that know me closest know that that's not the case. And so I got flack from one of my best friends, Taryn Bradley, because who's really been like, I mean, really somebody who has been with me for a long time, and I appreciate the shit out of her. But she used to be frustrated with me because I would go around telling people, hey, make sure you tune in 90.7, make sure you listen to 90.7. Hey, what you listen to 90.7? And people would always ask, they'd be like, man, are you on there or something? Is that you? And I'd be like, no, I'm on the street team. Like, my guys do it though. And so I'm trying to put the station out for my guys.
Yeah.
And she kept hearing that and hearing that. She was like, one day we got back in the car from being at the gas station after me shouting out the radio station saying I was on the street team. She was like, dude, why you keep saying that? Like, why you keep lying about it? And granted, I don't lie in general. But it's just like, I didn't want to be looked at as the face really of anything. Like, I don't need you to know that I'm behind this. I just want you to rock with it. And like, I want you to just rock with the product. And that's it. You do not have to know it's me. And people get confused when I say I do not like the attention. Yeah. It's weird for me.
The fact that you're doing this interview right now says a lot, though. Because
no, this is cool. I like this. Like, it ain't, you know what I'm saying? It's just,
this is.
But I'm giving you, like, you done got a lot of stuff, though. You done got a lot of stuff out of me, though.
Yeah.
You done got a lot of stuff.
Putting yourself in an uncomfortable position, you know what I mean? Not just it's my show, blah, 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 whatever. I don't care. It's called the Community Beat because it's not Ross Martinez. I'm on the small bottom. I have the same issue in my career where I'm like, no, it's this, the brand, blah, blah, blah.
I love doing it, but I don't need the face behind it.
But why is that? Is that like anxiety of, because for me, I never want to be labeled self-centered. This comes from some trauma back in grade school that therapy now has me trying to figure out.
I'm going to interview you about that next time.
Oh, let's go. I'll be down. I'll come down 90.7. But it's like, for me, and having that where I'm like, am I good? I can be confident because I'm very passionate about what I do. I put my heart and soul in everything I do in my career. It's just, I'm in. The Husky Heartthrob is because I have a huge passion for what I do. Yeah. And I'm a little big. Like, what's up, Doc?
No, the name is fire, though.
Thanks, man. But, like, I have that anxiety of being misunderstood because something happened back in my past where I'm like, fuck, I never want to feel like that again. So then I became a little trepidatious and I became a little bit more picky choosy. Now, I've been here for a year, I'm more like you. I'm like, man, I'm Ross. Ride with it or not, but I'm authentic. And I'm now in a space where, like, if you think this is about me, I can't control it, so I gotta just let it go.
And I'm trying to get there, but I'm like, if you think this about me, I just want to make sure it's accurate.
Yeah.
As long as it's accurate, I'm good.
It's hard to get to the point of just letting it go, though.
Yeah. I got some friends and some folks, especially in the Yanni Collector. Shout out Lexi. She's one of those people that's like, it ain't true, so who cares?
I gotta talk to Yanni Collector. I've been hearing that a lot. I gotta get in contact with them. But it takes a lot of self-work, man.
It does. To
just
knowing
yourself.
that you can't catch everything. And you won't catch everything. And so that's just what it is. But
so all these moments in your life, all being a part of history, having your success here and there, your lineage growing, now we get to the book. So what was the inspiration behind? What's the name of this book you got here?
The book is called Damn, I Graduated May. This comes from, a lot of people don't know, but I worked in higher education for 6-7 years for a minute. And I ended up working in higher education because what I was trying to do for myself didn't pan out. And so I ended up just getting a job, leaving Atlanta, coming to SIU Carbondale and just taking a job as an admissions advisor, or admissions counselor, whatever. And then getting a job at Northern Illinois University, which brought me back to Peoria in the first place. And I was just going around the state of Illinois and Missouri recruiting students to come to NIU. And I would get questions from, and again, reluctantly though, because I never wanted to work in higher education, bro. I'm supposed to be hosting BET 106 in Park. Like, I ain't got no business being here. And how do I pivot out of this and get to the track that I really supposed to be on.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And really do radio on the big level. And by the way, I got to shout out Mayor Rita Ali. That's how I came in contact with 90.7 in the first place. She's also the one that recommended me for the commencement speech at ICC. So shout out Dr. Mayor, Madam Rita Ali. But so with that journey of talking to students and trying to help them understand how to approach college, not from the front end, but from the back end. You know, people will just talk about majors and, you know, and even admissions counselors from other schools, like, well, what do you want to major in? They're only asking half the question. The real question is, 10 years from now, you got to wake up at 6 a.m. and you got to go somewhere. Where do you want to go? Once you figure that out, let your academics be predicated off of that end goal.
I like that.
And that's how you approach college. College is not an end all be all. It's not a seat to success. It's not a seat to success. It's a door to opportunity, right? College doesn't guarantee success. You got to figure that out on your own. And so just helping students understand that perspective and to use college for what it is. College is a tool. It's one leg to the stool. It's something to be leveraged, right?
Yeah.
It's not something that you matriculate through and end up on the back end and now boom, you're successful. That's not how it works. And so throughout these conversations I've had with students, coupled with my own journey and realizing that I went about college the wrong way, I'm just trying to not really right my wrongs, but really just identify areas of opportunity where I could have made better decisions and couple that with the questions and the insight and perspective that I got from the students and try to help them leverage college better. I ain't never come up with that, but like that's what this book is about. It's to
was it on the spot that you just made that up?
I love it. It's to help students better leverage college. You know what I mean? And to use it as a tool to get where they want to. Because I say in the book, the goal of going to college isn't to graduate.
No. It's the experience you gain from it.
The goal of going to college is to get what you want on the back end, right? Because people that, like LeBron's son, his goal ain't to graduate from college.
No.
His goal is to get to the NBA. How do I get to the NBA? You're good enough. You stay focused. Oh, and you got to do a year of college. Okay. So he's going to college, not to graduate, but that's a prerequisite to go to the NBA. Same thing with like Mark Zuckerberg. Dude's a dropout from Harvard. Because as soon as he figured out that what he got going on is going to exponentially get him further than this degree, and that he doesn't need this degree to get to be one of the richest people in the world, oh, bro, we gone. You know what I mean? Again, college is to be leveraged. So Mark Zuckerberg utilized the campus of Harvard University as a test market for Facebook. Now, he probably didn't go in looking at it like that. But when he was in there, he was like, okay, I got this Facebook thing. And it started off at Harvard. Then it went to the colleges. Then it went worldwide, right? And so he just used it as a hotbed of a test market. And then he went from there. So that's what it's about. So that's what this book is about, is trying to help people understand how to see college, how to leverage college and use it and go from there. Now, for some people, the goal might not be to graduate. Some people, we got to graduate. Why? I want to be a doctor. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a teacher. Well, those things require a degree. So for you, yeah, you got to graduate. But that's how you leverage college for what you want. But the ultimate goal is success on the back end. So think about the back end and then approach it as such.
So in a way, it's kind of bringing your story full circle, where it's being authentic to you and your journey. Would you say?
Yeah, because I went through college, thought I was going to be straight. When I graduated, like, man, I got a master's degree. I'm about to be fine. And I wasn't. And in fact, the first real job that I had brought me back to college.
You ever stop at any point of your days and just be like, these are the main dominoes that had to fall for me to be who I am and where I am now?
No.
You never, did just coping mentality. You just keep going.
I just keep going, bro. Like, because at this point, I don't know what's going on, to be honest with you. Like, people are like, what's the angle? What do you, bro? I just be waking up and doing shit. Like, same. For real.
I can't have anxiety of having, for me, it's anxiety of like, wait, I want ABC 10 years from now. What am I doing now? What am I doing? And I take myself out the moment when I do that.
Well, I do got things that I want. You know what I mean? But they're all like.
But you know what I mean? Like, people, I can't be one of those individuals. I don't know if you could be like it, but have it all mapped. I have moments I know I want to attain. I have certain accomplishments I know I want to get to, right? But the way I do it, I wake up and I just go. Like, I just feel it. Like, I follow the passion and I'm there. But there's some cats that need itemized.
Oh, yeah.
And is that kind of how you live, where you just kind of like?
No, I'm not itemized, and I think people that do what we do mostly are like us, where they're not itemized. The itemization folks are the GMs, even though I run.
I'm about to say you're a GM,
but the thing is, like, the accountants and the producers and stuff like that. But for the people, because I never want to be no GM, I never want to run a radio station.
No.
I just want to get on the show and talk shit. I just wanted to interview folks. I wanted to interview all the hot rappers. Like I said, I want to host 106 in Park. I never wanted to be a boss. And I would consider myself a boss now, because you're not a boss until you're really putting money in people's pockets.
True.
Consistently, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm not a boss, but the desire to be a boss was never upon me. I never wanted that. I just wanted to work in hip hop media, whether it be BET, Revolt, MTV, VH1, whatever, entertainment, hip hop, and just be a personality in that space. That's all I ever wanted to do.
It's interesting.
But it didn't work out. And so now I'm here, right?
That's funny, because like I've had these conversations with my boss, how like, one day I want to be PD, and he's amazing, man. Scott Wheeler. God bless this guy. He's been an amazing role model since I've gotten here. And that's not just smoke up his ass because he's my boss, but he's a teacher, right? And I told him that this is my biggest thing. I want to be a PD one day. And he'll show me things like, you sure you want this? You sure you don't just want to be a personality? And my stubborn ass is like, nope, I want to be a PD. I want to navigate the ship. And I don't know, man, like being a personality and not having the job of being a boss is very appealing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So how did you end up being the GM?
Because I left 90.7, and then like because it was a community radio station to begin with. So like the community radio station, as it was situated, just had the hip hop and R&B, Monday through Friday from 4 to 8. Everything in between time was just a heterogeneous mixture of random programming.
It's like a mix.
Yeah. Terrible mix though.
Yeah.
And
what you guys got going now is good. I'll tune in between our station and yours.
Yeah. I appreciate it. And likewise, and also not even to count out Gary Moore as well. But before that, it was just like it was bad programming. And so I just ended up leaving because I'm like, what are we doing? Like, I'm just out. And so I just up and moved to California and was out there for a minute doing stuff. Ran out of money, came back, stayed for like a couple years, and went to Atlanta and ran out of money, came back. It was really a final straw when I wrecked my Benz. I was like, bro, I'm gone.
Damn.
Yeah, it was tough, but
not the Benz.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was crazy. I was riding around in a fire clean black Benz. I was broke. You know what I mean? But I bought it when I had money. But I never I never latched on to any job while I was down there. Like I said, I got jobs of attempts to get on with like, Tyler Perry Studios, Entertainment Tonight, and CNN. Things just fell through the cracks, and there was nothing I could do about it. But anyway, when I came back to Peoria, the station was kind of in a state of, I don't want to say disarray, but just didn't know what was next. And then so the owner and I just linked back up, and then I reached out to DJ Lavish, who was running the afternoon show, and then we just kind of, I brought in my brother. He's doing a lot of the interviews now too, and just kind of went from there. Yeah.
All this happening in your life, man.
Oh no, I got.
This is gonna be a part 2 because there's more I gotta ask you.
I got stuff.
Surprisingly, we're already an hour in this. You believe it?
Yeah. Oh, easy.
Conversations are beautiful. This is why I've started this podcast, because you ever hear of the human library? It was a concept in Sweden.
I heard about that. I think I got a tab open on one of my 400 tabs on my iPhone that I'm supposed to go check out. Like literally 400 tabs on my iPhone.
I believe it.
But yeah, I heard about that. Man, did you and I talk about that at Glass Shop?
We did. That's the inspiration for the inception of the KZ Community Beat. Is collecting individual stories, because each person I've talked to, you, Mr. Glass, Hetty Elliott, Becky Ross, some individuals doing amazing things and pouring back into community. For you took a passion of music and culture of hip hop, and it's guiding you in this crazy whirlwind of like, all right, here's 1 point, and here's 1 point. I'm being authentically me in my journey.
That's the biggest part.
Yes. So here's a question I love asking towards the end of the pod. When everything is said and done and people have tuned into your story, have read your life journey, what's the takeaway you want them to get from Marc Supreme, the individual?
I would say I would probably say he came, he saw, he conquered as himself. While
as
being
himself, I think is the important part.
And that is the biggest gratification I get every day. I ain't got money. I think people think I got money.
If you work in media right now, you probably know.
But just waking up and being myself, and that's what I said at the commencement address last May, was that you can be yourself and walk in any space. Yeah, you said you gotta be respectful and stuff like that. But as long as you don't infringe on the rights of others, be yourself. You know what I mean? And so I would just want to inspire other people to be themselves, come as themselves, and just be you, man. I know people that, you know, walk a certain way, or, you know, walk a fine line just for fear of ruffling feathers that don't even matter. You know what I mean? Or people
I agree on
fearful
that
of, you know, just being all the way honest with their, you know what I'm saying, with their girlfriends. You know what I mean? Just like simple stuff. And I've seen people like just change up when some different people come around. And to me, it's always been so lame.
It's always been weird to me.
Yeah,
I'm like, gee, this is not how you are with me. Like,
bruh,
just be you. You dope.
It's fine. It's okay.
Like, I used to hate. There's two things I hated: people that would tell me that I was simple and that I was dramatic. I grew up watching novelas with my mom. Of course, I'm fucking dramatic. Like, it's part of the entertainment person. It's my personality. But the simple thing is what always took me, bro, because I always took that as a negative. But the older I got, the more I've seen how complex this universe is and how individuals are when they live. Simple's good.
Simple's good. It's basic that you want to be worried about.
Oh, fuck that. I ain't basic.
Yeah.
Mama ain't raised no basic, but you know what I mean?
Basic,
I got too much personality.
Yeah, simple's good.
How about this? Let me ask you two more questions, then we'll be out of here. One's going to be a little bit more of advice for other people, and the other one's just going to be a simple where we can find you and get the book and everything. So, the complex question. For any individual out there that's listening that is battling the challenge of being authentic, what's your best advice to help guide them to finding who they are, just in general?
I don't know. I would just say just show up as you are. And it's like, how do you do that? I can't really explain it, but you really have to just decide that what you have to offer is unique and is dope and is wanted. And that's what people need to realize about themselves. What is inside of you, the universe has been waiting for. And you have to trust that. And then once you get to that point, then you can express it. And the people that rock with it will come. You'll find your tribe. But you can't find your tribe if you're hiding your light. You know what I mean? So you just have to expose that. And some people might run away, but other people are going to come. And the people that are going to come is what you want to be there for. When I first started Rap Politics, it had big fanfare at the top, but then it started to wane, and somebody posted like, man, I hate that people aren't watching this podcast because it's really dope. I'm like, oh, I only make it for the people that watch.
Yeah.
I only make it for the people that watch.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with that. Now, I fall into that trap sometimes too. I was talking to the mother of my kids, Zakia, and she has the Mother and Skillet. Shout out to the Mother and Skillet. She's cooking. There's only 2 orders left. You know what I mean? But, you know, by the time you hear this, it might be gone. But make sure that, you know, check out the Mother and Skillet on Instagram. But I remember we was talking about the book. I was like, man, what if I do all this work and nobody buys the book? She simply said, you got to be okay with that. And that is like huge, right? Because anything you do has the potential to land on its face.
Oh, 1,000%.
I have my friend HB. Shout out HB. We had a great conversation because he knows that I don't give myself grace at all. It's hard to do that. And I was telling him, I was like, man, I was like, man, Kobe don't give himself grace. He's like, yeah, he does, because he lets it be what it is and he just tries it again. You know what I mean? Because I was like, that's not the bomb mentality, give yourself grace. He was like, no, when you accept the fact that you missed the shot and you shoot again, you've given yourself grace on the last play. And I was like, damn.
You're giving yourself the grace to make a mistake and learn the lesson.
Exactly.
That is grace.
Yeah.
I never, that's
profound, borderline, when you think about it.
My brain never unpacked it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why I love these episodes, because there's nuggets, there's stuff.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, a full episode is not going to be a gold nugget.
We got to circle back.
There's some things.
But it's not, so it's not that, oh, you missed a shot, it's okay. It's not that form. It's I missed the shot, it's done. It's done.
Just let it go in the wind.
It's done. And he told me that last week. I was like, bro, that's fire.
That's my challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ruminate.
Me too. Because I admittedly cry over spilled milk.
Oh, all the time. Me too.
I cry over spilled milk. Like, it's on the, you can bring me a new gallon. It's like, bro, here's a new gallon. Right. Well, thank you. But now we could have 2 gallons, but the other gallon's on the floor.
Exactly.
So we'll never, but I got to get to the point, we all got to get to the point where we just accept the fact that we'll never recoup that gallon.
Yeah. For me, I always feel like I should have known better.
Oh,
but you
man.
can't. You can't. You don't know better until you know better.
Yeah.
And that sucks in itself. Man. Mark, thanks so much for coming through, man. I appreciate it. We're going to do this again.
Oh, easy.
But
easy.
Let me ask you, for the book, Damn, I Graduate in May. Where can they find this when it comes out?
You can pre-order it right now at digimcoach.com. That's digimcoach.com. And those pre-orders start getting shipped out May 4th. So you can go grab it right now.
All right.
You can find me on Marc Supreme at MarC_Supreme. You can find Digim at DIGIM Coach, DIGIMCOACH, and you can find the Yanni Collective at the Yanni Collective. That's YANI Collective.
Man, someone media trained you. Speaking of media, anybody that wants to get more information on 90.7 FM, how can they find you guys?
Man, Strictly Hip Hop at Strictly Hip Hop on Instagram and Facebook at Strictly Hip Hop, and of course tune in to 90.7 FM. Shout out to the team. Shout out to the teams. I'm talking about the Dig'em team, because we got people, helping us with that. We got the Yanni Collective team. Shout out to them. We got the Strictly Hip Hop team. Shout out to them. And just personal folks that's in my corner, and personal folks that's in all of our corners that just really want to see us win and really accept us as we are. We couldn't thank y'all enough.
I'm a big wrestling person, right? So WWE, WCW, that was my entire life growing up. AEW now. And in media, a lot of times we treat different companies like WWE, WCW. We never mention them. We don't talk about them. We never cross brands, right? Mm. So for me in this moment as a professional, being able to cross 90.7 and 102.3,
it's dope.
For me, it's a culture shock, because we're competitors, right? I think we kind of have the same market, but the fact that we can sit down and have a cohesive conversation with each other about not only the culture that we both, tried to add to, but just as individuals in the stream, showing people that, we could get along. This ain't a you, me, them. This is we all in this pot together. Mm. So appreciate you coming through, man. Marc Supreme, my guest this week on the KZ Community Beats. Tell your mom I said hi. Otherwise, I won't come over for a plate of food. I don't know, bro. Go check out the other episodes of the Community Beat on all podcast platforms. I appreciate you greatly. My guest again, Marc Supreme, General Manager of 90.7 FM and the author of I Graduate in May. Go get it out now. Mark, my man. All right. We are out. Peace.